I had people that turned in 3 or 4 labs with the same, they'd staple 3 or 4 lab forms together, uh, with, 3 or 4 lab groups together with the one form. And, so,
I didn't know if we had to have the lab form for the homework.
yeah, we do everything because that's what I do. See, that's my record. So if I've got a record of how I grade you, then I can give you your lab back. And what was happening was we were saving labs, and you can imagine the number of classes I keep. And if we kept all the labs, then we would store in tons of paper, and we have to keep that for 5 years. So if I just keep the lab forms and give the lab backs or shred the labs, because that's what I do if I don't pick them up, I shred the labs. Now I'm dealing with one lab form for each thing, and now I can put 2 or 3 years in one box, right? You understand? It made a lot of difference. Y'all should have seen the boxes we had we kept them in the behind the curtain in there in A210.
Oh, back there.
Well, now we got test equipment in there. We got our oscilloscopes and stuff when they teach AC. So the lab procedures are a lot alike. I got it open there. Not following procedures will deduct from your student lab grade. No eating or tobacco products in the classroom or the lab. We don't have any beverages. I had a problem with PLC one class last time. You don't even take the bottle back by your lab right there, right? Normally when we go to lab, there's a card up front. You can leave your drinks in there. Went in there the other day and there was a dang bottle back there on the lab bench. If you bring a drink in, you need to take it out too, right? You understand that? That happens all the time. We don't allow y'all to wear short pants or open-toed shoes in here. They're not allowed in the lab or classroom. Y'all understand that? You knew that. That was last class. I'm not going to say them. Lab grade forms and lab entries must be done in pencil. I had people do pen last time and mark out stuff, and that's what I don't like. Pens, we don't erase. Pencils, when you make a mistake, you can erase, right? So when I sign your lab form off and I do the grading, I'll do that in pen. But all the information I want from you needs to be in what? Pencil. You get on your lab when you draw your diagram. Before you do this, and I'm going to be a lot stricter. Last time we let y'all off for first few weeks, but we're going to be a lot stricter because following procedures where you go to work at is very, very important. Not following the procedures that a company sets up could get you fired, right? You understand? Or could get you hurt, right? Or get somebody else hurt, which is even worse. We need to get used to following procedures. So before you start a lab, what you supposed to do? Yeah, go up and get your lab form, right? So now if I come back there and you don't have that lab form and you don't have the information filled out when I get back there, you're supposed to have it, I'm gonna need that form. Right? Y'all understand that? Are you okay with that? No, y'all not okay, but it's gonna be okay. Fill in the required information at the top of the lab form, right? Before starting the what? Lab. I only get one lab form at a time. I'll go back there, I've seen it, you have 4 or 5 lab forms over there, you're trying to find the lab form I'm supposed to sign. And everybody else is waiting on me. We got a list up there, right, you understand? I go off by the list, right? And you're not following procedures and somebody's waiting on the form, right? So now you're not only affecting your grade, you're affecting the other student's grade. It's like, you can't start a new lab until you get what? Sign off. Check the instructor's lab manual. I don't think we have one there. I don't think we have any modifications here. If there's any changes, I'll see if there are. Write your name on the title page of the experiment because these lab forms, sometimes they get separated from the labs. All y'all doing is staple them together, right? You understand? And I have to haul these things off and I put them in a bag. The bag's in my office in there. And sometimes the lab forms get what? Unstapled. And so now I got a lab that don't have a name on it. And I've got a lab form that's got a name on it. And then I got to do what? Yeah, and it's almost impossible to do because we do very little writing. Sometimes y'all can identify it by the drawing. But what you need to do right off the bat is just do what? Write your name up on the title page of the lab. Of the lab group. So the way this lab is set up, it's a little different than other labs that we do. Is that we have lab groups, right? You understand? And inside that we have 2 or 3 different activities, which are actually individual labs. So if you look at your grade book, you've got a grade for each individual activity, right? Y'all understand that? So that's the way our lab form is set up. It's set up so I can put multiple grades on the same form for each activity. The lab book is split into lab groups that contain one or more activity. A lab form is required for each lab group, not activity. That happens too. Do not use the same lab form for multiple activities or lab groups. You all understand that? So now what do I got to do? Well, I got to separate them, because when I grade them according to groups. So I organize them. Lab group 1, group 2, group 3. You got 3 groups connected together. What do I have to do now?
Separate.
I got to separate them, step them back together so I can get them in the right pile. So that's the way I grade. How many labs did I have to grade last time? How many labs did we do? Had 16 people in the class. How many labs?
What?
A lot. And I have to grade every one of them. By the way, if you don't do a lab, if you do nothing in the lab, don't staple a lab form on it and then turn it in. So y'all know I grade these labs, right? Y'all understand that. If you turn in a blank lab, it takes up time for me to even look at it. But I look at there's nothing on there and it's got a lab form attached to it. I think some people think that I just go through and look at the names and give y'all credit for the labs. I don't. I go back and double check that I signed off everything inside there. These labs are really pretty easy to grade, because most of my grading I do where? When I sign it off. Of course, now we're going to start seeing little deductions, right? I come back there and you say your lab is ready, your lab is working, and I come back it's not working. Which means what? You didn't understand, right? Because you're the one that's responsible for coming up with your program and verifying that it's what? It's working. Hell, these labs are worth 50 points apiece. We count, we're going to go over the labs in class. This is where you should do what? Ask your question, right? You understand that? Now, I've had people sit back there 3 days to not lose 5 points. That's what it costs you. For assistance, it costs you 5 points. I'll come back there, I'll answer any question you want, I'll help you out, cost you 5 points.
Oh, man.
For assistance.
You did that last time?
No, we didn't, but we're going to do it this time. Right? You understand that? Huh? Well, but what gets me is we get people to stay back 4 classes so they don't lose 5 points, and they lose a whole lab. They can't get 3, they can only get 1 lab. I've had people do that. I've had people sit back and never ask for assistance, and then it costs them labs. So what that means, if you lose 5 points, then instead of making 100 on the lab, you'll make what? 90, which is still a what? An A, right? You understand that? So if you need help, ask for help, right? You understand that? Don't sit back there and try to wait 2 or 3 nights to do a lab when you need help, right? You understand that? But it's going to cost y'all a little points this semester. It's supposed to cost y'all last semester too, but we kind of slack on that. It was a big class. When working with a team members must swap programming positions and assistants' responsibilities. The class is smaller. I'm going to really check up on that. I'll go back, and we're giving credit for people, but you got one person sitting in front of the computer every time I come back there, which tells me what? Yeah, they're doing all the work, and you're writing different names down on the lab form. So watch out for that. Everybody, I taught advanced PLCs one time, and another instructor cost the class, and I don't forgotten how many people we had, but we had 3 people drop the class the first week because they never did. They passed PLC 1, but they'd go back there and they would have coils in series. They would just go, and they had no idea how to do the program. So what did that tell me? They never got their time in front of the PLC. And then we had one student, another instructor was teaching that, And that's what they said. They said, well, they would get up there and they'd finish their program and they'd leave. Right? Not even work. So you're working as a team. Each one of you are getting credit for this lab, right? You understand? You're working as a team. So I don't want one person to dominate a team. What we do in one of our classes, the problem we have in this class is that everybody's at different points. When y'all take troubleshooting, what do you think we're going to do in that game? What in fluid power, that's one thing we do, we rotate teams. When we do our troubleshooting lab, we rotate teams. Here we can't do that. Why? Because everybody's in a different lab. If we could teach this some way where everybody did the labs at the same time, that's exactly what we do. We'd make y'all do what? Rotate. So, but in troubleshooting, if you take the AUT 208 class, I think it's required in both degrees now. You're going to rotate teams, and we're going to one of you's going to be the leader, and then the other one's going to be the assistants. And we'll rotate teams all through that class. And then when you're the leader, you got to present information. So everybody's got to do that too. Name each program with the instructor assigned lab number followed by with your initials. For example, Bill Irwin Ford would use what? If you're not working in a team. If you're working with a team, then what does it say? So here's Bill Irwin Ford and Grace for me. And so this is the way I want you to label the labs. And what we're going to try this semester is, I'll need to set it up. I wanted to go to the lab tonight, but we might not be able to do that. What I want you to do is, I'll have to figure out if it's working. Is y'all going to save y'all's programs on our file server? Now, what the advantage of that is I have the ability to go out and look at them myself, right? Anytime I want to. But at the end of the semester, what can I do? I can wipe them all out. So the way the login works, I think I can't get it so you can change your password, but you'll be assigned an ILT 195A, B, C, like that, whichever group you're in. And what you'll do is you'll log into the computer, so that instead of logging in their METSTU, you'll log in under that name. And once you log in, it will map or set up a logical drive. Y'all know what logical drives are, right? What's logical drive? Well, look at the number of drives it looks like I have on this computer. So it says I have an H. It says I have one called instructors, 2, global suite, students, rich, all these different drives over there. They're not on this computer. They're on a file server somewhere. We call it mapping drives. So we have the ability to map drives off a file server if you give it permission. If you manage a server like I do, we can make it run what we call a script. So every time you log in under, like when you go down in there and you log in under student, METSTU. If you ever look at my computer, you'll notice you've got a drive called students. It's a logical drive out there where you can do what? All the PLC documents are out there, so you can access that, but you can only access that from school. So what it's going to do when you log in under the ILT 196 account that your team's assigned, it'll automatically map the folder for that team.
Our servers here on campus.
Yeah. It'd be. So we talk about the cloud. We got our own cloud. We can access that from home. We've got if you got the rights. It's kind of like when you get on like Google or something like that. You have to set up a user account and password before you get access to their file servers, and they call it the what? They call it the cloud. We got a 6 terabyte file server over there, which y'all are not going to get onto. Y'all going to get onto another computer. So
We just send all our information to off-site servers.
sometimes it's safer to do that.
It is.
because if something happens at your plant, you still got all your information.
We have a lot of power outages.
But this computer right here could crash, and I don't care because everything's on our server. So y'all get a drive. So this is the student drive that all y'all have, you know. But y'all's drives are going to be is going to be on our file on our domain server where y'all will be at. When you need a lab a sign off, you're going to do what? Everybody should be familiar with this. Y'all got okay with that? What y'all going to do?
Sign the paper.
Yeah, sign the paper, right? Indicate when you need help, and also what itch you're on. Especially here because I can't see y'all, right? You understand? That makes it a lot easier. Everybody okay there? Every time it says demonstrate your working PLC program, you're going to make sure you get a what? Yeah. And it says the key word is working, right? Everybody okay there? Each student must complete their own lab form. This happens too, where people try to turn in both lab members on the lab form. You're responsible for turning in your lab. You're responsible for your grade, right? You understand? Each student must complete a lab grade form for each lab group. All lab grade forms must be turned in to the instructor at the end of each lab session. You'll put them in the what? In that door that says what? Not ready to be graded. Don't put them in the ready to be graded. This happened last semester too. Two of the students were over there looking for one of their lab forms and they couldn't find it. What do you think had happened? And I'd already carried them off for grading. So. Do not staple multiple lab groups together. Once you complete the lab, remove the completed lab group from the lab page. Place the pages in the correct order. That gets you problems too, right? Make sure you have the title page in there. So that's going to be, so what's going to be first? Lab form, title page, and then in the right order, right? Everybody okay? Any problems there? Completed experiments. Completed experiments must be turned in with all required information in drawings. You don't have class problems with this because I don't let you do the drawings before I sign the lab off. I'm requiring y'all to have them in there when I sign it off right, and I sign the drawings off at the same time. But I do this. Y'all probably didn't notice that. When you complete a lab, I put the date of the next class when the labs are actually due. And you need to turn them in on time. I was very lax on that. Even though I gave y'all a reprieve last semester on y'all's numbering system labs, which I gave out, I had some in the group, in the last group that was turned in on the last night of the final thing. And I went ahead and graded. Should have done that, right? Right. And we've had this happened one time where we didn't require that, and I was teaching a class. People were turning in labs, and I had a student walk up to me, had about 15 labs on the night of the final, handed them to him and said, "Did I pass the class?" So that's when we started this procedure right here. So what happens is you turn your labs in as they go along, right? You understand that? And then now I have the ability to grade them at my convenience, and I usually wait until I have a group in one section turned on. I don't go out and empty that drawer every night, right? I might, but before I grade them, I wait until I get most everybody gets the first lab turned in. And that way it's so much easier for me to enter the labs in my grade book. The way the grade book is set up on Blackboard, it's really, really hard to enter a lab here and a lab there and a lab here and a lab there. They want you to enter it in what? In a straight line. Completed labs remain with me, and if you want them back, like I said, I'll bring them in here next week. And if you want them back, you'll tear off the lab form, give the lab form to me, and you can keep your labs, except for the numbering system labs, right? So here's the labs. I don't know about the handout labs, guys. We might do, I would like for y'all to be able to play around with the procedures PLCs a little bit. The problem is that they're over there in the mechatronics lab. The computers that have the application installed on it. We might try, if we got time, we might put that out. We'll probably do this tonight. We'll go down there and just check to make sure all the PLCs are logged in and working. What we want to do is we want all y'all to try to get on one of the 1100 PLCs, the ones that's got this mounted on this mount right here. Because these guys do just about everything that we're going to teach this class. It does your sequencers, and the 1000s don't do that. The slicks do that, but them suckers are nice, right? They're modular PLCs. They're nice. They're slow and tail, but the communication on these things are so. Anybody use these for a while? Yeah, that's the one where you flip a switch and you have to wait for it to show up on your screen. It's not instantaneous. Even though your PLC does it instantaneous, it don't respond. I've had people flipping switches. So it's not showing up, and the PLC's working, but they don't give it time to do what? To show up on the screen. These guys, they come up at really, really fast. So the first lab activity we'll do is 9-5 activity 3. And then we'll jump up to, and then I give you special instructions. So this is where we're going to deal with math. So it says the ladder diagram must be drawn to perform each individual math instruction in the space provided below each description of the lab book. Create a lab diagram using RS Logic 500. Name the ladder diagram using syntax already given, right? Program must include a run for each math function. So this is kind of like we did for when we did our logic. I remember when we did our logic gates, we put 2 switches at the top, and then we had those 2 switches perform all the different logic down the line. Well, this is basically the same thing we're going to do. We're going to take 2 numbers, and we're going to add them, we're going to subtract them, we're going to multiply, we're going to divide them, and all that stuff. So that's the way the PLC program is done. Since the divide instruction creates a fraction, use the floating point, I should tell you what, data file as a destination for the quotient. So this would be the one we'll have to use the FA register, right? Okay. So we'll come back and talk about this more, but some of the labs I give y'all additional instructions. All the instructions you need should be in the 9-5-3 activity, which would be the ones that we'll work on. So what we might do tonight, until I get time to check it out, I should have done that today. But guys, in this P2, I've only got 5 office hours a week. So, I'm good. So these are activities we're going to do, and we're going to all go all the way down to sequences. And then the last slide we're going to do is you're going to do what? Yeah, I'm going to add that to the PLC 1 class too. Here's deductions. This is the way we get deductions. And here's an example of the lab form. The way I do deductions for different groups is what I'll do is when I initially indicating the deduction, I'll put the number out there indicating what activity that's supposed to be deducted on. Everybody look at it.
Oh, look at it?
Everybody look at it. Give me that ugly look. If it's a group, so paperwork, this is going to be a group deduction, right? You understand that? And then if it's an individual deduction, I'll put this is where I put for deduction, this is where I put for group deduction. Group deductions are taken off for the whole group, right? You understand that? So it's basically the same way that we did last semester, but I don't think I explained to you what that lab form's going to look like. And so what I do is you turn this in. I've got a record of how I came up with your grade. So now I don't need your labs anymore, right? Because we have to keep for 5 years. We have to keep how we come up with your grades. You know, and it took us, so we had to save these things for 5 years. And we was keeping up with all the tests, we was keeping up with everything, and now we do everything through Blackboard as much as we can, right? You understand that? And we use that platform. So we okay here?